Hi, Douglas Simonson here, coming to you from Mexico with another painting demonstration video. Today I'm going to be doing a landscape. That's a bit of a stretch for me. I'm much better at people. But every once in a while I see a landscape image that inspires me. And that's what happened this time. I was out walking in my neighborhood, which is the Cinco de Diciembre neighborhood of Puerto Vallarta, and I saw this tree I really liked. So I took out my phone and I snapped a picture. And then later when I looked at it, I thought, that would make a good painting. First thing I did was crop the image. Then I did my usual routine with Photoshop where I tweaked the image to make it easier to paint from. And that's really important with an image like this because like with a big tree, it's easy to get lost in all those details. But with the tweaked image, there are no details, it's just the big shapes. And it's much easier to focus on that. And by the way, if you want more info on how I tweak images in Photoshop, check out my video on this channel. Okay, time to paint. I just want to alert you ahead of time, I don't have the final part of the time-lapse video, but I will explain to you how I finished the painting. Okay, here we go. I've already sketched out the image with pencil on the canvas and then covered that with an acrylic wash. In this case, I think it was burnt sienna. Anyway, it's pretty red. I thought with all the green of the tree, having a red underpainting would give it more color energy. Okay, I'm starting with the sky, and then I'm moving on to the tree and the road, and basically I'm just covering the biggest areas first. I want to cover as much of the canvas as I can with paint so that I can get an idea early what's working and what's not. So I've done some of the sky and parts of the tree and a lot of the road, and I should have put in some buildings at this point, but I hate painting buildings, so I'm going to put that off as long as I can. After putting in the darkest darks of the tree, now I'm putting in the next darkest darks, and I'm just doing the big shapes. This is a lot easier using the tweaked photo because it's so easy to see the separate shapes. The trick is getting the lights and darks right. Next, I'm doing the blue car, and I'm doing my best here to not try to paint a car. Instead, I'm copying the patterns of lights and darks I see in the tweaked photo. And it doesn't even have to be that accurate. As long as I get the basic patterns right, it's still going to give the impression of a car. Now I'm doing the same thing with the car on the right. It's the same basic process. I'm copying the patterns of light and dark. And really, you don't even have to get the colors right. If you get the values right, it will end up looking like a car. So now I'm jumping around. I'm tackling some more areas of the buildings and putting some more touches on the car and the sunlit part of the street. The street actually turned out to be one of the most challenging parts of this painting, and more on that later. Now I'm doing more buildings, and this is actually a really important part of the painting because these are some of the brightest brights, and they end up defining the whole area around them. And then I'm moving on to that pickup in the middle distance. And again, I'm not trying to paint a pickup, I'm just painting a pattern of lights and darks, and there's no detail. And there shouldn't be much detail anyway because it's in the distance. Now I'm jumping around a bit, doing some more of the prominent building shapes and the road and the shapes in the tree and so on. And this is where the time-lapse video ends. So what I'm going to do here is put up a screenshot of the painting where the time-lapse video ended and the final painting next to it so I can explain to you how I finished the painting. Okay. That building on the left is really important. Those blocks of bright sunlight against the darker walls really add a lot of energy to the painting. You can also see I did a lot more work on the street. I wasn't happy with the gray of the shady parts of the street, and I noticed that there was a lot of yellow in the sunlit part of the street, so I thought, well, let's add some purple, because purple is the complement of yellow. Put some purple into the shady part of the street and see how that works. And it worked really well. You can see that it's not totally accurate, but it is believable, and it adds a lot of color energy to the painting. The other big difference here is the focal point of the painting, the mango tree. Adding the lightest lights made a huge difference, and notice that they're not really green, they're more yellow. I also made the darkest darks even darker, so the whole tree ends up being more 3D. And I put some more touches of sky blue here and there so that it looks like we're looking through the tree to the sky, and that makes the illusion more convincing. This sort of thing is fun to do, but you have to be careful not to overdo it. So here is the final painting next to the original photo, so you can see how much this image got transformed by translating it into paint. Everything is simplified, and there's almost no detail, but you don't miss it. This is why I always say if you get the big shapes right, The details will take care of themselves. Title of the painting is Mango Tree Near My House, and you can see it now on my website at DouglasSimonson.com. That's it for today. I hope I gave you some tips, some insights into painting a landscape, into painting anything really, because the basics are going to stay the same. If you did like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you watched me and you got a little inspired, great! Go put on your painting pants and go paint!